Hello, Dijon here. In the comics portion of episode 145 of the Mustardcast, we go over what books we've been reading lately, discuss the potential new black-led comics coming from DC, and review issues 4, 5, and 6 of Absolute Martian Manhunter. Please enjoy. All right, well, moving on to comics and books in general. You've been reading anything, Christian?
I have. Main book that I've been reading right now for the time being is Men Without Women. It's a book by Haruki. Well, actually, yeah, let me see. Yeah, it's a book by Haruki Murakami. Um, Always wanted to dig into his writing more. When I was in high school, we read one of his short story books, but I also feel as though academia has burned any want for me to read things. So I've been just trying to reclaim that. And yeah, the name of the book is Men Without Women, and it's a collection of short stories of just men overall, just kind of struggling with intimacy, struggling with connection in different ways or in different shapes or forms, like across different ages, different jobs, different positions. And it's just stories about men kind of dealing with loneliness, like just very good fictional, very, I'd say just very kind of funny, very witty stories of men without women. So um
Ooh.
that's been on my reading list and I thought it's been very good, like very good, just great existential comedic observational writing. Um
I've
and
been
another
meaning to check out his work. Would you say that's a good place to start? You think?
I feel like that would be a good place to start. Yeah.
Okay,
Um
noted.
yeah, I feel like his short stories, they're so bite-sized and so quick and like pick up and go. That is a good way to understand his style and
Gotcha,
just
gotcha, gotcha.
understand. Yeah, it's a good way to ease in.
Bet. Because
Um,
I was at the bookstore the other day and I saw 1984 by him and I was gonna get it, but I was like, everyone says that one's super dense,
yeah,
and I didn't know what else to start with, so it's
yeah,
like maybe next time.
yeah. I was scared. That book is like world book sized. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, yeah. Short stories for sure with him. Um, Other than that, still in my reading list. I wanna finish Asada. Like I got through a good chunk of it. Asada Shakira's passing really just propelled me to just get over the hump and just read this book. Like get I have a library card. I just wanted to read it and just read about her story because it's it's just very interesting about how hard she loved. Like she really loved and cared about people and cared about black folks like so intention, like just with so much intention, and you can see that in every word and in every page. um and the fact that she had to act like flee the way that she had to, it just her story was so just, I feel like her story is the gateway to just really just understanding revolutionary praxis and how we, the revolution is love. And in the words of James Baldwin, is like love has never been a popular movement. So love is the revolution. Like love, to be loving is to be subversive. And I feel like her writing, her poetry, it just really captures that feeling very well. And I feel like it's very necessary. I mean, it's always going to be necessary, but now it just really is. It's been a good read. So, those are the two things that have been in my reading list for the most part.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
you've heard me. Me and A talk about it a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Chris, you've heard me talk about how like you talk about that, and I always everything in my mind always relates back to comic books because I love me some comic books. Um,
Mm,
and the power of love is just something that is very central to like Wonder Woman and
mm,
everything she stands for. And everything you just described is exactly the same type of stuff Wonder Woman stands for. And it's why they hold her back because they know she has the power to change the world. If they just told stories about this person who goes around changing the world through love, you think they want that? Of course they don't. A woman of all people too? Of course not.
Right.
A woman who was raised by only women, birthed
Of
from
course not.
only
It's
a woman.
preposterous.
Right.
They can't let that happen.
Woke nonsense.
But yeah, how about you, Anne?
I've been more into physical books. This is my year to get into physical books. I went to the bookstore for my birthday. I went to Books a Million out in Arundel because I love that store. Shout out to the Millionaires Club. So I bought a couple things. I was looking for 4 books. I only found 3 of the 4 that I was looking for. So I picked up Starving Saints by, it's like Hold on. I have it in a note doc. I have a notes document on my phone of all the books I want to read this year, and have been using that to cross-reference every time I go to the store. So Caitlin Starling, The Starving Saints, I picked that up. I haven't started reading it yet, but Naja, one of our coworkers, has recommended it to me up and down, so I'm really excited for that. I also picked up really nice editions of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So I have an illustrated hardcover copy of The Hobbit that I've been reading through. I'm like halfway through it now, and I forgot how much I love that book because the last time I read it was in the 3rd grade. And so that's been really nice, like going through it with under an adult lens and like understanding it a lot better, especially like Bilbo's perspective on the adventure. And it's like, I don't want to do this, but I kind of have to, you know, and like how despite the strength of the call to adventure, how like a lot of people that are called on these like great journeys and quests and stuff are normal people that live very normal lives and are pulled from their like very normal lives. It's very interesting. And then I have an illustrated edition of Lord of the Rings where it's the entire series in one book. That thing is heavy. And once I finish The Hobbit, I'm going to move on to that, which is really exciting because I forgot how much I enjoyed Tolkien's prose. And it really makes me want to get into my writing bag a lot more. But then also it makes me feel better because I feel like I use too many commas when I write. Listen. However many commas I use when I write, Tolkien uses 10,000 more. It's kind of crazy.
Gotta mix it up. Gotta throw in some semicolons.
Right, some semicolons, a little M dash every once in a while. You know, so it makes me feel a lot better about that. And The Hobbit's been a joy to read back through. Next on my docket to read is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. They didn't have any copies at Books a Million, so I have to look somewhere else, which is unfortunate, but it's on my list. And then in terms of comics, a little bit of Absolute Green Lantern, just a little bit. I did read the chapter you told me to read very briefly. I don't remember anything from it because it was a couple days ago, but now it's making me want to go back to the beginning and read it from the top. So you were right.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
I plan on making some somewhat significant changes to the podcast that we'll talk about later. And because of that, instead of jumping straight into Witch Hat, like I said, instead, we're going to read the first 8 issues.
Ooh, that.
Of that. Okay. I'm going to reread it. You don't have to reread it. You could just pick up where you left off. But I'm going to go through it just to refresh my memory. But yeah.
A refresh would be good for me. What else have I been reading manga-wise? A little bit more Claymore, not much. Witch Hat Atelier updated, but I haven't gotten around to reading that yet. But I've heard it's tragic. Shadow's House has been very steadily updating, but it's been getting kind of like crazy in a way that I don't think I enjoy. Like it's crazy sad, and I'm like I trust that it's gonna go somewhere, but on the same token, I'm a little nervous. Other than that, though, I think that's it. I've been mostly reading like actual books rather than manga.
Cool. Any progress on tomorrow?
A little bit. It's been slow going. I've had to take like breaks from it. I don't know why, because I'm really enjoying it. But it's like I'll read a whole bunch and then forget and have to go back. Because I unfortunately am one of those people who can't read one book at a time. I have to be reading at least 3. And so it's a little chaotic, but you know, I think once I finish The Hobbit, I'm really going to sit down and finish tomorrow before I move on to Lord of the Rings, because that's gonna take me like actual months. So once I get like actual project progress in that book, I will be talking about it. Trust.
Yeah, when it comes to novels, no graphic, I have to read one at a time. And yeah, I need to finish. Well, let me just get into it. I'm still reading Song of Achilles. Been reading other stuff at night instead of that, so I haven't been reading that. But I need to finish that so I can hop into the last book in the Mistborn trilogy. And then after that, I'm gonna hop back into into the second book of the Poppy Wars trilogy. And then after that, I want to finish the Witcher book that I've been putting off for so long. In terms of manga, still reading One Punch Man. Read the latest issue of that, and the latest issue of Chojin X and Kagurabachi. Let me tell you something, man. Kagurabachi. The memes, I keep saying it every episode. The memes were right. It is awesome. I can't wait till this gets animated. Kagurabachi's so good, and like part 1 of the story ended, and it's on part 2, and it's exciting where the story's going. Still catching up on JoJo part 6, so I can catch up to where I left off the anime, so I can watch that. At this rate, I'm gonna just watch part 7 before I finish part 6. But there's I don't want to spoil it, but like there's a you can do that without spoiling yourself, basically.
You definitely can.
For reasons that I know, because I kind of know what happens at the end of the story already, like from years ago before I even started watching JoJo. But
yeah, same. That's like one of the spoilers I got.
But yeah, and enjoying rereading it, because I did most of what I've read so far. I've read before, because I started at one point reading part 6 after I finished the anime as it was before part 6 came out. But then when I like stopped reading it, and then the anime came out before I finished reading it. And Chainsaw Man, 1 chapter left. This arc has been, there's a reason why you stopped reading it. It's been like wishy-washy. And it's about time it ends, if I'm being honest. Because we know.
Wait, like 1 chapter left, period?
I don't know if it's period, but at least in this arc.
Oh shit! Maybe I have to catch up now.
But like Fujimoto, we know Fujimoto has got that dog in him.
Of course.
When they, their short stories are always awesome, but it feels like Chainsaw Man has just gone on for too long, and they need to just end it. But in terms of comics, some of the physical comics I got, all Marvel comics. Well, that I read recently. I did also have some DC comics I bought physically. But I read Ultimates issues number 19 and 20. Issue number 20 was a great example of how Dennis Camp is not subtle whatsoever when it comes to his political views. Because Dennis Camp is the writer of Absolute Martian Manhunter, and the Ultimates is about revolution. It is about a world where the Maker, evil version of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, has molded a universe to suit his needs and become dictator, and he's like made it to where certain heroes never become heroes, or they die, or they become villains, and certain villains are leaders of the world and work under him. And the Ultimates, which is that the Ultimate Universe's version of the Avengers, are working behind the scenes to start a revolution, and that revolution has properly started now, and people across the world are rising up. And I'm really digging deep into that in these last few issues, because it's ending with 24. And in issue 20, the Human Torch, not Johnny Storm, but the original Human Torch from the 40s, who's an android, he becomes the Vision. And he is sent back in time to essentially try and, without altering the moments that lead up to the current time, he has to also try and secretly build up a network that they can use in the current time.
No pressure.
And part of how he did it was very cool, where he essentially they connect his existence as a machine to the downfall of Detroit's engineering culture due to systemic racism, and he secretly kind of brings all of the black engineers in Detroit together to secretly build a war machine. And of course, one of the people they highlight is the ultimate version of James Rhodes' War Machine. And they build this giant robot that they call War Machine to fight back against the Maker's forces. It's awesome. The Ultimates is easily the best of the Ultimate Universe books. I think it's a book you would enjoy a lot, Chris. Also reading Ultimate Wolverine, read 13-14. It's crazy how much better the story got, because it was like started good, then it got and now it's pretty good again as it gets towards its end, because this is ending at number 60. It's sad to see the universe, the Ultimate Universe, go away as a whole, especially as we watch the Absolute Universe on the DC side of things flourish the way that it is. Even though Martian Manhunter is ending, you see how great that is. You've read Wonder Woman, you read Batman. It's awesome.
It is.
And we're only getting more books. We're about to get Absolute Green Arrow and Absolute Catwoman.
I'm excited for Absolute Catwoman. I really am.
And yeah, it's sad to see it go. Like, Marvel really messed up deciding to cancel this. It was unfortunate. Also read Ultimate Endgame #2, which is a culmination of all these different stories. I read Ultimate Black Panther #22, Ultimate X-Men #21, and I read Planet She-Hulk #1, which is written by our Black Queen, Stephanie Phillips, and Daredevil #25, the final issue before. Stephanie Williams is our Black Queen who's writing Planet She-Hulk. Stephanie Phillips is taking over from Saladin Ahmed in Daredevil after issue 25. And I'll start reading it physically. I have enjoyed Saladin Ahmed's run more than most, and I think that people have judged it too harshly because it came after what is going to go down as one of the all-time greatest comic books, period, in Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. It's just, you can't compare. It's just unfortunate how good that book was. And we also read, moving on to the DC comics I've been reading. I read Batgirl #16, Absolute Superman #16, Absolute Green Lantern #11, Absolute Flash #11, Just League Red #6, which was the final issue, but there might be more. Or something from these characters coming in future. Nightwing #134, Just League #15, which is their year 1 story, part 4. Just League Unlimited 1450. Superman Chains of Love special. Absolute Wonder Woman Annual, which is the return of Mattia DeLulis, who drew the last 2 issues that we read for this annual. And you could read this annual.
Wait, does that mean more Little Diana?
No.
Oh, dang.
But I think you can definitely read this without reading anything else. It's standalone, and it is the story of her kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I'm just gonna say, like, trying to, like, pray to Athena to allow her to undo Medusa's punishment. After experiencing what Medusa's like when she transformed to her, she feels the pain and is like, I want to undo the mistake you made, Athena. And this is where we get Athena for the first time in this universe, and we see she looks awesome. Wait till you see Athena.
I'm excited. It's good. Athena's always been one of my favorite Greek goddesses.
Yeah, she looks awesome in this. We had what else? And the last one is just Supergirl numbers 8, 9, and 11. I was gonna drop it, but then I decided to pick back up and read those 3 issues.
I was gonna say, what made you skip 10?
Oh, what? Oh, I guess it was 8, 9, 10. I think I just read 11 by mistake.
You said 8, 9, and 11. I was like,
crazy.
10 must have been terrible.
I just skipped 10 was ass. I just skipped 10. No, I meant to say that. Yeah, it was good. I dropped it at one point. I picked back up. Good book. Don't remember why I dropped it. But yeah, moving on to a little bit of news and comics. Speaking of our Black Queen, Stephanie Williams made a post all but confirming that she's writing a Vixen book.
Ooh,
yay! And the Dakota incident got a second printing. So let me explain what's going on. So DC is doing this thing called Next Level after their big DC-KO crossover, where they specifically are having creatives come to them with stories that they want to write. It doesn't have to be a popular character. It just has to be something that they want to write and that they're passionate about. And they pitch it, whoever they're pitching it to, if they like it, it goes out. And we've seen those books, or the ones so far that we know about. We know the ones that are coming. We know the 3 that are coming first are, there's a Lobo book, there's a Deathstroke book, and my personal favorite one I'm most excited for is Batwoman, and it's being written by Greg Rucka. Greg Rucka wrote Batwoman back in 2011, and Batwoman Volume 1 Elegy is one of my favorite comics of all time, so I'm excited for him to be coming back to Batwoman. But there's other books that are also coming. There's like a Firestone book. Satana's coming back again with ongoing, which I'm excited for. Which is being written by a black man. I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but his art, he's writing and drawing. His art and writing is awesome on that character because he wrote the last comic that was canceled, but now it's coming back. So yeah, it's cool. So we've got some black creatives, but we don't have any stories about black people. That's the problem. And Stephanie Williams has been very vocal about the fact that she wants to tell a Vixen story. Luckily, one of the people that is kind of like currently hitting up DC at the moment, this is a relatively newer thing because of the Absolute Universe, is Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder wrote New 52 Batman, and he created the Absolute Universe, and he's writing Absolute Batman. So he's got a lot more pull in DC right now, and he is in a high position at the moment. And he heard everybody on Twitter and various different social platforms being like, "Where are the black books?" And he went back and he made some change. And now both Stephanie Williams and Nicholas Draper Ivey, who wrote and drew the last Static series, posted on Twitter saying, "New History of DC Universe: The Code Incident is number one is getting a second printing. Huge thanks to everyone that showed up and supported me. We see you." And in parentheses, and between you and me, they're listening, with a winky face emoji at the end. And in the threads post that Stephanie Williams made, she said, "Trust me, DC Comics heard y'all loud and clear," with a video of Whitney Houston saying the intensity, the prayers going up. I just feel like this is the moment. And yeah, all of it is pointing towards we're getting that Stephanie Williams Vixen book, which Vixen, of course, being one of DC's first black woman heroes. And we're probably about to get a new Static book. For those of you who are hearing Static and thinking Static Shock, yes, that's not his name though. His name is just Static. It's never been Static Shock. That's just the name of the cartoon. I'm gonna be so happy when we finally get a Static movie and they just call it Static, because I promise you they're just gonna call it Static and everybody's gonna be so confused. They're gonna know it's him, but they're initially gonna be like, "Where's the shock? It's not his name." But yeah, this is good. And I bought this book. I just haven't gonna go pick it up yet. I'm actually gonna go pick it up next Wednesday. But I'm also about to get this second printing because let me send you the cover actually. Because let me tell you something. A book is doing good. Oh, I should also mention another wrinkle to this is that DC was barely promoting this book, which this book that I'm talking about, The New History of DC Universe, The Dakota Incident, is them tying in the Milestone Comics characters, which I think me and you have talked about Milestone before. Milestone isn't owned by DC. It has Static, Icon, Rocket. Static is the one that everybody knows, but there's a whole universe of people of character, superheroes that was started by black people and is owned by black people. It's not owned by DC, but they work alongside DC, and they have at one point in time was integrated with DC, and it seems like they're trying to do that integration again. And this comic, which is a line of comics that is kind of retelling the history of the DC to try and make it all make sense again, is now this specific comic is about making those characters fit within the DC universe. They weren't really promoting this book very much, but the people writing it, the people drawing it, they promoted it. It did gangbusters, and now they're printing it again. And it's getting a cover from Dan Mora, who is essentially DC's like go-to artist for everything, and probably easily one of the best like comic book artists in the business right now. And,
no shit.
And I love his art so much. Every character he draws is essentially the best version of that character you'll ever see. And let me tell you, the cover is a clue. The cover is a clue as to what's going to happen as a result of this.
Oh yeah, I see.
They're for sure about to make that Static book, and I'm excited.
Sure.
I said it maybe not last episode, but maybe the episode before that. At the very least, if we don't get books for the other characters from the Milestone universe as well, hopefully they are featured heavily in the Static book.
Static book, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I haven't seen him in so long. It's like looking at an old friend.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see where this is going. I'm so excited for Vixen. Vixen is a character who's been very prominently on the Justice League and has been like the main black woman on the Justice League for a very long time. And just the premier black woman DC superhero in general. So to see her potentially finally getting her a solo series that hopefully, and probably will, because people are going to show up. I'm definitely going to buy this book physically.
Oh yeah, same. I might too.
I think I might.
Yeah.
After getting that glimpse of her in
Justice League Unlimited?
I always forget the name. No, the book we read where it was more prose than it was actual comic. I always
Oh
forget the name
yeah,
because it's so long.
we read another book I think you would like, Christian, The Other History of the DC Universe, which was written by John Ridley.
Mm.
And it is the John Ridley you're thinking of.
I was about to say that, John, really?
Yes, that John Ridley. 12 Years a Slave John Ridley. And it's real good. That
You can tell,
and you can definitely tell. You can, for better or for worse, you can tell.
Mhm.
And yeah, Vixen is featured in that because it's telling the history of. There are 5 issues about different characters of color in the DC universe, but the first issue is about Black Lightning. And it's told from essentially damn near basically when the character debuted in the comics in real life till like I think the late 90s. And yeah, Vixen is featured in that.
And I want to learn more about her.
But also, yeah, you watch Justice League Unlimited, and she
That
plays
also.
a big part in that.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is exciting. I'm gonna be so glad when we finally see something. But they're teasing it too heavy for it to not be a thing. Moving on to the book club.
Yes.
We're finishing up reading the first volume of Absolute Martian Manhunter. Written by Dennis Camp, drawn by Javier Rodriguez, letters by Hassan Atmane Alha, cover by Rodriguez, and edited by Katie Kubert. Some synopsis of issues 4, 5, and 6. For issue 4, it's a heat wave in Middleton, as tempers and temperatures run hot all over the city. In the white-hot heat, normally minor conflicts between neighbors turn deadly, as at the drop of a hat. Can John Jones and the Martian cool things down before Middleton erupts into chaos? In issue number 5, an attack on Middleton's power stations. A citywide blackout as night falls, dark sides are unleashed. It's John Jones and the Martian against a city full of psychopaths, and the one behind it all. And in issue number 6, ideas explode like atom bombs, minds melt, and colors clash in the darkness behind the eyes of every person on the planet. It's Green Martian versus White Martian, John Jones versus madness itself as he fights to save his family and the world. If you want to just look, or you could also just look in the comic section of the Discord, and you just want to see the art, Christian, because I was gonna do this part because me and A have already talked about it. But if you want to just if you want to give your opinion on just first looks at the art, and what you think, if you just scroll up, you'll see some panels we put in there.
Whoa! Just from wow, it's like golden age stuff, but
yeah, it's very flat colors,
isn't it?
Yeah,
I love flat coloring. Is my favorite style of coloring in comics.
Me too.
Like,
Me too.
I don't care for super detailed coloring too much. I don't hate it, but like we've read comics with it and they'll look good. But like the flat coloring is always best. Like
it's so charming.
Supergirl One of Tomorrow mostly had flat coloring.
Yeah.
This is wow.
I find that like comic artists or like comic artists that like lean more towards flat colors do a lot more with their color, and I like the books that are colored very flatly tend to be more colorful or use their color in a more meaningful way. Because again, Supergirl Women of Tomorrow, this honestly, I would argue that Absolute Wonder Woman has some pretty flat coloring at times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the art in this book is awesome. Javier Rodriguez.
Is the entire book like this?
Oh yeah, the entire.
This is incredible.
It's very psychedelic because Martian Manhunter, one of his main powers is telepathy, and they lean very heavily into that. And the Martian in this comic isn't a Martian that came to Earth and is disguised as a detective like it is in the comics, the main universe. In this one, it's a FBI agent who's being like possessed almost by this other dimensional being that isn't a Martian but calls itself a Martian because it can't find any other word to describe what it is to the human mind. Like, it's so incomprehensible that it just says, I'm a Martian. You won't understand what I am other than that.
Which I think is really fun.
It is fun. Yeah, each of these frames could be framed.
So, starting with issue number 4, it begins with a mysterious, shadowy figure with a white circle for a head, removing its head and placing it in the sky of Middleton, where the people are being baked by the sun, causing them to lash out in anger. Meanwhile, John's wife wants to talk. And he can see the reason why written all over her face, literally. But the Martian psychically makes John aware of the violence breaking out across Middleton and uses it as an excuse to avoid the conversation. At the scene of the crime, we learn that a massive fight broke out between seemingly random people, and the Martian identifies the sun as the problem, calling it the white heat of war, and begins trying to fix it. We then learn that Middleton has a large immigrant community, as Camp is once again purposefully not subtle about his left-leaning, political opinions. We then learn of more violence caused by the white heat of war, as John avoids his wife before she finally corners and confronts him. Bridget feels abandoned by John and like she doesn't know who he is anymore, and is also frustrated by their sudden move to Middleton, which we learned was more serious than initially described, since their friends from DC no longer answer their phone calls, and John refuses to tell her why, making it seem like it's FBI related, like something big happened and they had to move towns, and he just can't say why. So Bridget tells John to leave because she doesn't feel comfortable with a stranger in the house. And while all this is being discussed, the Martian finishes fixing the sun, but as a result, doesn't notice bombers attacking power plants across Middleton, causing a massive blackout. What were your thoughts on issue number 4?
I really liked issue number 4, and I really liked the way that they centered the interpersonal conflict between Bridget and John, but also made it relevant to the conflict at large with the sun and the heat wave and stuff. And I thought the way of like them using Bridget's temper and like her anger at John and her feelings of abandonment to kind of set up the white hot sun of war, and then be like, oh, it's not just Bridget, it's everybody. And it really makes you like, for a second, it makes you question. It's like, is Bridget confronting him this way because of the white hot sun of war, or because she actually feels this way? And it's like, you can tell there's genuine feelings, but it's hard to suss out like what she actually feels versus what is the white Martian's influence. And I think that's really, really great, because it really, I guess, gives John a reason to like lock in at what's around what's going on at home too, just as much as he is as on the outside, because it's like his family isn't safe. And I'm sure like up until this point he's like, oh yeah, my family's chill because I'm not telling them anything, kind of like Black Lightning in the other history. And I really think that's interesting how they set it up in this book. I really like this one.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I like the relationship problems between Bridget and John being
they feel realistic.
Yeah, being at the core of everything is part of what makes the story so great. Because it's so wacky in so many different ways, but like you said, you just have that very realistic thing, kind of like keeping
like
it
it's very
grounded,
sobering.
Yeah,
I really like when they bring in their marital issues, because it really sobers the book up a lot, because it'll be like very wacky, very like the Martian having an influence on the fabric of reality, and it's like, wait, none of it kind of sets up this thing. It's like the Martian can change everything almost, and it's like has all this power over the fabric of the universe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, your own interpersonal conflicts are your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same time, you wonder, like, is this all actually happening, or is it in everyone's heads? Because there's this whole telepathic ability thing that you're wondering, like, is this actually happening? Are they actually like affecting like the world, or is this something that's being projected into people's minds? Exactly. And just the way that it's being and it's just being artistically being shown this way, but it's not actually what it would really look like. It's very interesting.
Very much so.
Moving on to issue number 5. We begin with a woman crushing glass with a rolling pin. A man in a gas mask holding a pack of off-brand Oreos called Chocos, and a man killing a dog. John is investigating these events as people take advantage of the seemingly eternal darkness and power outage placed upon Middleton. Amidst it all, John goes to check on Bridget and Tyler, but she refuses to see him, so he sends the Martian to check on them. We then see what's going on with the lady crushing up glass, as she adds it to a burger patty before she serves it to a customer, but John intervenes and stops the man from eating it. We also see what was up with the man in the gas mask with the Chocos, as he injects them with poison and puts them on store shelves. John manages to stop him, but nearby, his wife and son were shopping. And Tyler wanted Chocos, but Bridget said no. But in the scuffle with the poisoner, the poison Chocos were dropped on the ground, and Tyler picked up a pack. John continues trying to help people, but is sometimes too late, as we see seemingly a father murder his son, their pet, parrot, and himself, which is horrifying. From there, as he continues to go around trying to help people, he's hit by an ambulance. And the two people who step out of the ambulance are very much not paramedics. And one of them has a circle, a white circle for a head. And they both attack John with a surgical buzzsaw. As all of this is happening, the Martian studies the darkness and discovers its source. Dark side. We then end with someone knocking on the door of John's home, where his wife guards his son with a shotgun. Dark side is, eh? Dark side is. Thoughts?
Dark side is.
This is your first experience
crazy
with
reveal.
Dark Side is.
By the way. Crazy reveal. But it was a crazy good reveal. I wasn't mad at it at all. Also, the cover for this one I think is my favorite. This issue had my favorite cover of all the ones I've seen so far. I don't know. There's just something about it that really appealed to me.
Could you sit in the chat for Chris?
Yeah. Let me go.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
But general thoughts on the book while I'm looking for that. I really, 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 really like the way they played the darkness in this one. I thought it was so neat. Like I like that, of course, with the blotting out of the light comes naturally the darkness, but the way that like they don't paint the darkness itself, like this eternal night blackout, as evil, but rather the things that people do hidden under its cover as evil, and like their own dark sides coming out to like impact that eternal darkness. I thought that was a really cool way to play with that like dichotomy between light and dark and like one's own dark side. I thought that was so neat.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I remember reading this and seeing that dark side reveal, which I actually took a screenshot of it. Let me send all the screenshots I took so far actually in the chat.
And it's funny because I was so enamored by the story that like screenshots were the last thing on my mind. I'm like, I'm locked in. There's that cover.
Wow.
That amazing cover. Isn't it so cool?
Great.
But that image of Darkseid was like, yeah, I was like, oh my god, Darkseid. And it says bad idea number 0. Throughout the comic, Martian Manhunter will be like, good idea number 345, bad idea number 1047. And then this one, he's like, this is bad idea number 0.
The first one.
Darkseid, which the Absolute Universe is essentially Darkseid fanfiction. It was Darkseid went to a different universe, created the Absolute Universe, and his idea was that he was trying to like remove everything that made all of the greatest heroes great, to like keep them from becoming heroes, and so he could just have this universe to control. But they still ended up becoming heroes anyway, just in different ways. And yeah, this is the first time I think this is the first time we actually get a mention of Darkseid in an Absolute comic.
Really? Interesting. I didn't know that about the Absolute Universe also. This is news to me.
So he's the overall architect of it?
Yes, he is. Moving on to the final issue we'll be covering so far, because it's only going to be 12 issues, because they're ending this book, Chris, not because it's not doing well or because they don't like it, but because apparently they got an offer from DC so big, both the artist and writer, that they decided to stop working on this very successful book that they were enjoying writing to work on that book. And I'm excited to see what that is. In issue number 6, John attempts to fight off his attackers as the dog killer from last issue breaks into his home and attacks his wife and son. Bridget shoots their attacker in the head, but it transforms into a white circle, which is a visual motif that we've seen several times. For the first time, we saw it in issue number 4, where we saw a person with a white head take their head off and put it where the sun was, which caused the white heat of war. Yeah, so he now has a white circle for a head and continues his pursuit while saying that the voice in his head named Bob convinced him to kill more than just animals. Meanwhile, the Martian emerges and defends John. And something I love about this book that we talked about a little bit already is that everything that's happening is essentially just telepathy, which is one of Martian Manhunter's main powers. but it's displayed in such an artistic way, like the Martian paralyzing one of the attackers by manifesting from John's eyes and shooting a red beam from its one large eye, which I'm not sure if that was one of the images I sent, but let me screenshot that real quick. Once the Martian takes out John's attackers, he sends John to Bridget and Tyler through the white circle head of one of the attackers and out of the white circle head of the dog killer. Once there, he tells Bridget to take Tyler and hide while he fights off the dog killer. Meanwhile, the Martian begins fighting the White Martian. And again, we see what is essentially a telepathic fight displayed visually. The White Martian pulls a city-destroying cancerous tumor from a child's dream, and the Green Martian pulls out the cure that a child in the very same apartment building will create decades from now. The White Martian pulls a nuke out of a war-fearing hippie's brain, and the Green Martian makes it inert by pulling on the same person's belief in military incompetence. Meanwhile, a crowd of white circle-headed people invade John's home, and he's beginning to be overwhelmed before Bridget comes out to help him, saying, "We're a team." In that moment, John realizes that he's been closing himself off emotionally and doesn't understand why, but decides to try and open up, which unlocks more of the Martian's power, which he uses to influence the minds of the people of Middleton, distracting the White Martian, giving him the chance to land a winning blow. And while that's happening, we see their son Tyler eat one of the poisoned chocos he picked up and starts foaming at the mouth, confirming a fear of A's. But when Bridget and John go to check on him, he seems fine. But the book ends. Really confused me. Yeah, but the book ends with another Martian vision sequence, which there's an image of it. The very first Martian Manhunter image that's marked with a spoiler, Chris, is an example of what this looked like previously, which is I have the first issue of every Absolute comic physically, and at the end, if you hold up two overlapping pages to the light, there'll be two overlapping images. And in the digital version of this issue, they decided to actually visualize what that would look like if you own the physical version. And what we see is the overlap of the White Martian's face with Tyler's face, whereas in the first issue, we saw the overlap of John's face with the Green Martian's face. And while that is happening, John says, "No more secrets. I want you to know who I really am." And yeah, that's the end.
Which, listen.
That's
I have been saying this since we started reading it, and since they introduced Tyler, I was like, if anything bad happens to Tyler, I'm going to be pissed. Something bad is happening to Tyler. I knew it was coming.
Yeah,
I feel vindicated, but on the same token, I am devastated that I am vindicated. That little boy does not deserve any of the things that are going to happen to him in the next 6 issues of this comic. At all.
Yeah. He's just a little nerd divergent boy, and then a White Martian just came and said, perfect candidate.
Right, he's just a little guy. But I will say, I do like the resolution of Bridget and John's marital issues in this, where it's like, it's not a complete solution, but it's the start of a solution. And I do like that, like, him opening up to his wife, to his partner, like, to his other half, is what allows him to get stronger, rather than like like, I'm leaving you, so this is your kick in the pants to become more emotionally sensitive. I'm glad it didn't come to that. That makes me happy.
What did you think of the book overall?
I liked it a lot. It is making me excited to read the rest because, like, I want to see what happens with Tyler. I want to see how the whole telepathic battles things, like, evolves. I want to see more of Darkseid because clearly he's going to play a big role in this. Not to say that he doesn't play a big role in the Absolute universe as a whole, apparently, but, like, clearly, if they're showing him, he's, like, very relevant. So I'm excited to see where he comes in. I'm not excited to see John fight his son. I'm definitely not excited about that, but I'm curious. I can't say I'm not. Overall, though, I really, really like this book. I think 4, 5, and 6 have been my favorite so far. I think they've been the strongest to me. Both story-wise, art-wise, like, I don't know, they just feel really, really good. Felt really, really good to read.
Yeah. How'd you like that abstract battle of like not like actual things, but like concepts, as John describes it?
It was really, really fun because it felt like a playground fight where it's like, oh, I use a nuke. Oh, well, your nuke's a dud because the military's in like, I thought that was really, really fun because it's like telepathy is always painted as this like super serious, super like, you know, like fate of the world ability, but to have it kind of played silly here makes sense because humanity, like, we inherently are rational and silly creatures. We're so unserious, and so to like turn that unseriousness into like a form of combat, I think is really, really fun.
Yes, man. So next, we will be reading the first 8 issues of Absolute Green Lantern. And we're going to start that discussion with issue number 8 because I've been saying it before. That should have been the first issue. So we're going to, and I'm in my reread, I'm going to start with number 8 and then go back to number 1 too.
Me too.
So yeah, that'll be a good time.